So welcome to the Deal Final Corner. So this is your weekly property talk show brought to you by Property Filter and hosted by myself, Guillaume Black, your favorite Frenchman. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Property Filter, and as you know, it's the highest rated platform to find deals. We're on a mission to empower our property investor and deal sourcing members to find yet again 1,000 deals this year, like they did last year, thanks to the Property Filter blueprint. And really the purpose with this Deal Final Corner is to give you more and the best of the available resources by inviting expert guests who will share with you the latest and most current strategies, tactics, and secrets about what actually works right now in terms of finding and making deals and the reality of systemizing and running a high-performance business in property. So it really is my pleasure today to introduce to you and have a conversation with my good friends, Nisha and Jasdeep. So I think we met, Nisha and Jazz, we met back in 2019 and some events. And in the last 3 years, they've raised well over 1.5 million of investor finance for their property deals. They went from doing one deal at a time that would take 12, 18, 24 months to now having 7 deals on the go at the same time in just 3 years. They've grown a massive £7 million portfolio since 2010, mainly in HMOs and buy-to-lets. And property gives them the freedom and the freedom of their own time and lifestyle to spend the time together with each other, with their children, family, and indeed they love their traveling. So I'm really happy to have this conversation with you guys today. So what can we expect? So Nisha and Jazz are going to walk us through how they said bye-bye to the spreadsheets and filing and all of that, how they leveled up their ability to do more deals in one go and share some incredible case studies and step-by-step sort of secrets of how they actually use Property Filter to find their own deals. So very, very much looking forward to this conversation with both of you today. So please give a massive Property Filter virtual welcome to Miss Nisha and Mr. Jasdeep. Thank you very much. So sorry, Jazz.
Oh, thank you. We sound great when you put it like that.
Yeah, you're awesome. You rock. So yeah, that's really, really cool. Yeah. So do you want to share a few bits or any bits of introduction you want to go through?
It's been like you summarize it perfectly. Just before COVID, we met. COVID hit, and that's when we sort of basically ignited our property journey. And Property Filters really helped us in that as part of the process. So it'd be good to take everyone on that journey and showing how we're using it now.
We'll go into that. So yes, we were kind of doing one deal at a time. It was taking us anywhere between 12 to 18 months with one project at a time. We were very, very slow for about 3 years. And we're now in the process of, I think we've got 5 HMO projects all on the go at the moment. We've got one in legals, we've got one deal, hopefully near enough being accepted as well. So from doing that around about 2019-20 to now has been a real big leap for us. And again, just being able to manage those deals. I think we were doing everything like everybody else, Rightmove, Zoopla, running from side to side. So we're Jazz and Nisha. Our strategy is HMOs. We've got a small portfolio of buy-to-lets, but HMOs was really like our main goal. That was what was going to set us both free, both of us to leave work, full-time work, and kind of have time on our own with the kids and be able to do lots and lots of traveling. So that was kind of the goal.
Yeah, so that was a real vision. And for those who don't sort of know us previously, Nisha was previously in an accounts and I was always in property. So I was more of a land finder and buyer for a large housing association, buying loads of properties, taking them through planning. So I love my tech and the sort of systems that we used on there. But what I found when I came to sort of our own sort of portfolio, it was a bit of a stumbling block because you've only got like certain portals or things to go to.
And my family is very much into buying property one at a time, like buy-to-lets, hold on to them, and then wait for 10 years before you can get a return. Whereas I turned around to my dad and was like, I want to do this faster. And that's where HMOs came into play. And when HMOs come into play, then it was like, right, how do we find HMOs? How do we find these deals? Because they're not just on Rightmove or Zoopla or anywhere. Like, this is a good HMO deal. Take it. It doesn't exist. That just absolutely doesn't happen. So
that's very interesting. So actually, it's not, you can't really find a deal. It's very much about making the deal, right? So you see something and then you convert it into an opportunity, right?
Yeah, and I think with Property Filter, it's just a lot more easier to navigate through what deals work and what don't. It's just very clear. So this was our life before, a big mess. We were too busy. We were trying to do everything. It was just me and Jazz, and the kids. We were swinging between Rightmove, Zoopla, on the market, everything. We were looking at the same properties, and those of you that were in business together, Jazz was looking on Rightmove, Zoopla, so was I. We were both looking at same deals, same projects. So we were actually wasting double the time looking at different deals. And
I think, yeah, what we found is that she would look at a deal and I may have already disregarded it, and then she'll come to me because I don't know if you guys have heard of wealth dynamics, where I'm quite into the detail on the land and planning side of things, and really understanding the creativity of how to convert a HMO. And Nisha was coming to me saying, would this work? So there was a mismatch in terms of criteria and skill sets, and we found that that was wasting a lot of time as a couple. A lot of arguments were happening. So why isn't this why isn't this a HMO?
And I'll just go to stuff and be like, this will work, and then go and find. So it was very much trying to collaborate and using all these different sites. It just didn't give you enough information, like the sold history, comparing them all. Everything wasn't in the right place, and we got very frustrated. And spreadsheets, and trying to put people, when you go on like some training courses for properties, etc., they tell you do a spreadsheet or get a physical file and put them in the file and then follow them up in 3 months. And it's very tedious. Like, you can't keep that amount of paperwork. You also can't keep spreadsheets that interesting, I think. So it's just it was a really, really difficult time to try and get our portfolio building as quick as we wanted it to.
I'm so glad it helped with the arguments, the couple arguments. I should use Property Filter more with my wife.
Oh yeah, definitely saved on those arguments. There's new ones now. The light bulb moment for us was when we got introduced to your program and your the new way of just you having this system that could actually help us grow faster, because we just weren't getting anywhere. We wanted to be time free. We still wanted to provide time for the family. We wanted to travel the world. We wanted to grow this portfolio. We were wasting so much time. And yeah, we were introduced to Property Filter. We absolutely fell in love with the concept. We've been with you for a while now. All the changes and the growth and everything. And it definitely meant we said bye to the spreadsheets, because it's almost like a CRM system built in. There's no paperwork, so it meant that we could work together remotely. We can work away from each other, and we're still looking at the same pipeline. We're still looking at the same deals. We're still analysing the same projects. And if one of us doesn't like something, we just hide it. It doesn't need to be involved in the process. So I think for me, Property Filter just gave us real clarity on our strategy.
And I think for me, it was when I was looking at the individual properties. And normally I'll go to the EPC register, various websites sold, everything was in one place. So it just cut out that faff really, in terms of, and time and frustration of going to different websites and looking at different things, and everything was displayed in one place. And coming from a geeky point of view, that was really good. I really like that graph that shows the pricing change, and that was amazing.
And I think for me, being able to see all the information in one place and ring the agents confidently, knowing what I know about this property, and that I had all the information on there, whether it had been with multiple agents or not, how long it'd been on the market, whether it had been sold and then come back on. And all that information is quite powerful when you're speaking to an agent as well. It gives you more knowledge.
I think the funniest is when you ask them how long has it been on the market, and they say, oh, it's just come on a couple of weeks, and then you've got the data there to say otherwise. It's just been reduced or something like that. Or they try their secret games where they withdraw it and put it back on and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, well, the multiple agents, they lost the instruction and they get it back, and there's the old story. Sometimes you know more than the agents themselves, right? Because you see everything that's happened before them.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So why did we decide Property Filter? I liked it because, again, I'm not very techie like Jazz, but this system is simple to use. Everything's on one page. It's systemized. You've got your follow-up reminders, which is really important for us, because if properties haven't, if it didn't work for us then and it comes back on, the follow-up system is great on Property Filter. I like the pricing history. It's just really easy to use. So if you're someone like me who's not that great on using big apps, it's simple enough for you to just kind of have the deal pipeline. I think that's the most important thing that I look at every day. Is I go into my deal pipeline, I'm like, right, what am I working on? So it's not kind of like you have to go back onto Rightmove and filter through again, or Zoopla. You know, property filter is right where you left it, and then you just work your way through it. So it's a good stop and start system.
So that's very interesting, Nisha, because a lot of the people they struggle with the concept of the pipeline. So they stay in the inbox, you know, if you like, you've got the leads inbox behind the lead generator, and they're so used to scrolling through this inbox that they sort of stay here. They don't really take the decision to hide and save to the pipeline. So how did you sort of understand the concept, and how did you sort of make the most of it? You know, if that sort of makes sense.
What we did is create almost like a deal criteria checklist. So on that checklist is, okay, what does a property need to look like from the outside? So we've got like, we know our stock, you know, we know our area, we know the type of properties that we're looking for that can be converted into HMOs. So we say, first of all, we set obviously the postcode area in terms of the location. And then secondly is, what does a property need to look like from the outside? Okay, it's the kind of properties that we go for are like Victorian properties. Sometimes they have a drive, sometimes they don't. If it ticks that box in the first instance, then we delve a little bit deeper and say, okay, the next stage is the floor plan. Does the floor plan work for a HMO? And we've got standard floor plans that we use, and we just the key thing that made us accelerate is systemize this process and basically go for the same thing. You know, that cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You just keep them going.
And it's really focused. Like if the house isn't 3 beds, it gets hidden. If the house is if the stairs are in the middle, for example, of the property, it's gone. So we very, very cutthroat in the type of properties we look for. Whereas before we were like, maybe this would work. And I think sometimes if you're maybeing a lot, it stops you from moving faster.
Yeah.
So it's like clearing your desk. So if you're really focused on the types of properties that work, it's easier to hide those properties. And if you're kind of on the fence about it, I would always put the wait till the next change, because then it will come back. So you know that it's not gone forever. Whereas if you're trying to put that in a spreadsheet, or if you've got it in like a physical filing system, it just doesn't work. Like it's too much headaches, too much headspace.
You know, with your HMOs, do you tend to use the criteria on square meterage and things like that, where you eliminate you look at everything?
Now we just keep it on the first instance, we keep it as wide as possible. Again, like we're strict in terms of what we know, but we don't want to start cutting things out. So we spend, like I said, geographical area, what it looks like from the outside, then internal layout. If it roughly hits those things, then we move it to the pipeline and we do further due diligence on there.
That's very interesting because there's like hundreds of filters really you can put, and the mistake I see people do sometimes is they over filter things. The image I use, which is not real, is people look for these 6-bed freehold flat on the Isle of Wight, right? You know, it's like doesn't work. You know, so they over filter themselves, and it's interesting to see that even though you know exactly what you're looking for, you keep it quite broad because you want to manually hide and save the ones. So that's interesting to hear.
Yeah.
So how did we level up? We allocated time to be on property filter. So as much as like sometimes people are scrolling through like Rightmove, Zoopla in the evenings or whatever, we made time to make it part of our week. So we would do it like every other day. First thing we would clear it. And like I said before, because it's a stop-start thing, it's not like you're having to start again and filter through all the stuff you've already looked at. You've already made a decision whether these properties are working or not.
And then also we time block the actual activity that we're doing. So if we're looking at our lead generators, we'll allocate like half an hour to just go through those and close them down. So there's not this like 1 hour slot where we're just doing everything property filter. We'll say, okay, we'll do our lead generators, Mondays. And then on a Wednesday, we might just do the due diligence and go into it further and do some further research to move those properties throughout through the pipeline.
Sorry, go on, Nisha.
I know, and I was just saying on from that, I think that's where our follow-ups regularly checking up, making sure where are these properties at, have they been sold, are they back on, and keeping those relationships with the agents so that they know that we're serious about the stuff that they've got on, because it's very clear about what properties are on with what agents. And if you know your area really well, then those agents will know that you're looking. So hopefully you'll pop up in their mind and be like, oh, it's fallen through. Nisha rang me a couple of days ago. Better ring her back and say it's come back on the market. So these follow-ups are very important because the agent then knows that you're on it.
So I want to unpick a couple of topics here. It's really, really interesting. So the one is about the time you allocate for this. So sort of before Property Filter, you said the two of you would look at the same thing, different portals, different places, different research. How long would you say you would spend online on like the research and the admin previously? And then the follow-on question would be, how do you allocate your time now, with Property Filter?
We would spend hours like in the morning, lunch breaks, evenings. Sometimes you're scrolling in bed and we're scrolling trying to look for properties, and we're both one of us is looking at Rightmove, one of us is looking at Zoopla. We spend hours wasting. Now I think we probably allocate about 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's so quick because the system itself just works, so we don't actually spend that much time wasting. And the way Property Filter filters all the properties in, we know, and we've got enough trust in your system that we are getting the stock that we need to see. So it's very rare now. And I know when we first started, we were like, oh, that property's on Rightmove, but it's not on Property Filter. But now it's like we just
over filtering at that
we
point.
were over filtering. Whereas now we've opened it up enough that we trust property. I very rarely go on Rightmove or Zoopla, hardly ever now, because I think like we spend about half an hour on a Monday, maybe we'll do midweek, and then maybe at the end of the week we'll have a catch up.
That's awesome. So you move from all your free time, basically your lunch breaks, bedtime, evenings, weekends, to 2 hours a week. It's a brilliant, game changer.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, it's not so much the time as well, but the frustration. Sometimes, like, you used to be scrolling on Rightmove and Zoopla, and you hit the end of the line in terms of you keep on pressing next, and you've reached the end, and you're like, I haven't found anything. But really you have, but you haven't moved it forward. And I think what Property Filter does to me, it kind of calms me down, saying, look, there's enough properties out there. If you want to take them, take them. And you just have a look at your pipeline to see how much properties you've got there, and that sort of helps me in terms of the frustration and the sort of because we're not moving fast enough.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So again, because this breaks a little bit of some of the habits, some people are used to scroll a lot, not really decide on anything for a while, and then all of a sudden you've got your criteria, your leads inbox, and you're ready to go. This meets your criteria. You're ready to give them a phone call. You're ready to move it forward. And for a lot of people, that's a bit it's a bit uncomfortable because you were quite used to your procrastinating, and all of a sudden you're like, shit, I've got my hit list, I'm ready to go. And so what do you say to these people who maybe have sadly built these patterns and habits of scrolling and telling themselves, oh, there's no deals out there, but really they are, but it's just that they've not, picked them up and moved them forward. And then when we move on to Property Filter, and it's like instant accountability, right? Here's your 5 deals, you need to go and speak with the agent today.
Yeah, and I think we were there. We were like, there's no deals, there's no properties, there's no nothing. We were definitely in that process. But also on the other side of things, I think by having everything on the deal pipeline, everything in one place actually showed us we need to take action. Like, we've actually narrowed these down, and we have to call these people, and they have to be in our pipeline. We have to make those calls. If we make those calls, we go see those properties. If we see those properties, we'll put an offer in regardless, and then we follow it up. So the process became very clear, and we were both on the same page. We were both seeing the same screen, whether it was on his computer or my computer. And with the CRM function, you could write in what the progress is with that property. And it just makes you more laser focused in actually getting stuff done, rather than sitting on it saying, I've seen this property and it hasn't happened. So I think because it's in that pipeline, it forces you to make a move on it.
And I think it's like playing to your strengths as well. Like, so I'm very methodical and process driven. So I was like, okay, what do I do to move this forward? I wasn't thinking about, okay, I've got 10 deals, that means I need to buy all of these 10. I was just saying, okay, what's the next stage in the process and how do I get it through? So like your lead generators, okay, let me just go through these, go to 0, and then filter through. And then when I was looking at the initial, like the pipeline, okay, what do I need to do to move a property forward or disregard it? And I think that's the key thing about pushing forward.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And you really embody the methodology, the way you describe it. It's like you save it to your pipeline, you start to do a bit of due diligence, and then you decide what you want to view. Everything you view, you offer, and then you never miss a follow-up. For some people that sounds familiar because I'm repeating the same thing every week, but this is like this works. Your methodology works, and it's what we've tried to emulate in the methodology in Property Filter. So
yeah, for us as well, it's about feeling that little bit of worry, or you're scared, because sometimes you'll say, okay, I can only manage one deal, but if you lean on that door a little bit more and get uncomfortable with that feeling, you'll find that you're offering on 2, 3, 4, 5 deals, and you've got, if they all accepted, you've got a lump sum of cash flow coming in 6-9 months time, because that's the reward that we're doing it. Like, that's why we're doing this thing.
Yeah. And it's the ultimate accountability, because if the deals happen, it's a good problem to have, right? And then you have to make them happen. So then we become these big rocks in the calendar, and then all of a sudden you scale the portfolio at the speed and the pace you did, which is awesome. Can you talk a little bit about your follow-up? You said once or twice a week you sort of look at the follow-up when they're due. Are you ones who ring the agents? Do you email? What's the sort of what do you find works in terms of following up? And Nisha, you described something really interesting where you occupy some headspace. So when something falls through now in your area, they only think of you. So how did you make it to the agents' brains, the vendors' brains, in this way?
So yeah, I do a lot of the agent dealing, and a lot of it is, I don't like the chain agents. I hate them because they've got such a high turnover in staff that you can't build relationships with them. So the properties, again, this is another filter that we've put in within Property Filter, is we deal with agents that are more either not in our area because we know then they're motivated to sell, or they're independent agents. And over the years using Property Filter, I can see what properties are coming on with those agents. And again, you buy one property off that agent, they're going to come back to you again. You buy, I think we're about 3-4 deals in with a couple of our independent agents, and they just come back now to us. So I think the follow-up is important. And even if you don't buy a property off them, and you be honest with them and say, it doesn't work with me this time, but keep me in mind for anything else, they will call you back. So again, it's just following up with those particular people that are there all the time, and not the chain agents that are kind of turning around really, really quickly. You can't build relationships up with chain agents. I think it's really, really difficult.
Interesting. And do you tend to allocate a time where you follow up on these deals you've got in the pipelines, like half an hour on a Wednesday afternoon, pick up the phone?
Yeah, I mean, it's typical with any agents. You can't get hold of them in the morning.
Yeah.
And lunch times and around about that time, they're always out on viewings and things. So I tend to have to be quite flexible when I call up with agents. A lot of them, when you do build up a good enough relationships, they're quite easy to get on WhatsApp. So just messaging them and just saying, hi, how are things going? Looking for my next deal. Have you got anything? They're very good on like kind of WhatsApp. So I've got the relationships now with a few agents where that relationship is built to that level. But before it was just kind of like, yes, ring them up on not Monday morning. I'd probably ring like Monday afternoons, and then I'd catch up around about a Thursday. They were the kind of time frames that I used to do any follow-ups. Yeah,
Monday mornings are like sales meeting, innit? Like they have their meetings. Interesting. And would you say on all the deals you've done, have they been primarily working with agents, or some of them direct to vendor, or did you like pull some tricks to speak directly with the vendor or things like that, or you tend to work with agents mainly?
So a lot of them, we do work with agents. One of our deals that we found was on Property Filter, and it was with a few agents, and the agents were terrible. So we actually went up to the property and posted one of our leaflets through the door. And then they rang us 3 weeks later, and we ended up doing a 3-bed conversion to 8-bedroom all-en-suite HMO. And that's because the agents weren't any good, but all the information was on Property Filter. So we had the address, we had where it was in our area, and it was just a case of doing something direct to vendor. So that's happened to us twice. With 2 properties. So sometimes if agents don't work, I think there's nothing better than just going up and knocking on the door as well. Like that's worked for us as well. So I think we try a number of ways. There's no like one fixed way. But again, if you're not getting through with the agents, then a knock on the door isn't a bad option. I've done that. Posting something through isn't a bad option, because our criteria is so specific. That person wants to sell anyway. Yeah,
you can see it on the graph and multiple agents, all the signs on Property Filter, right? What do you mentioned about this particular one that were listed with multiple agents? In your experience, what do you see that means for the vendor, like or the situation, and what does that tell us about the agents in general? Are they both competing to sell it as soon as possible, or both totally not I forgot the name. There's no incentive for both of them because they think like, well, why should I put some effort in? It's on the market with the other one. What's the situation there in your experience?
I think it depends on where the agents are located. Sometimes it's on with multiple agents, but they're non-local. So like we operate in the southeast, and sometimes we get agents that are based in Manchester or Leeds or anything like that, and it's just like, okay, why have they gone to these people? It's most likely because they're giving like a fixed low cost fee, and they just advertise on Rightmove and Zoopla, etc. And then you're kind of saying this might be a motivated seller because they're not willing to give the 1 or 2% to the local agent, so they're trying to save as much money as possible. So that's like one tip. Another one, if they are multiple agents, then it kind of indicates that they're kind of desperate because they need to sell it quick, because they tend to be if you have it in multiple agents, it tends to be a higher fee that they have to pay. So they might say, okay, as long as it's sold quickly, I don't mind paying that higher fee.
They also get annoyed with both agents at the same time as well. Like
Yeah.
they don't like either one either. So it's just kind of like, well, I'll buy it, then I'll just take it off your hands. And they're like, okay, that's fine. You can tell that how desperate they are when they've got multiple agents.
They think it's a good idea until they actually do it, and then there's always, so the first deal I bought was this, 3 agents direct to vendor. We bought it 67K less than what was the original asking price. It's just because because exactly for that reason. So that's really awesome. Thanks so much for that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd go through some of our deals that we have done previously. So this was Project 101 Western Road. It was a 3-bedroom house. It'd been empty for quite some time. Really dirty, really messy. We actually took our kids along to this one. It actually looks pretty decent here, but it really wasn't. This was on with multiple agents, and we'd seen it with a previous agent already. So when we saw it again, we saw it with a different agent. So we'd kind of had it in our follow-ups because we were like, this still hasn't sold, and now it's on with another agent. And this was a probate property. So we actually converted this project from a 3-bed to 7-bedroom, all ensuite HMO. We actually got the EPC level up to a B. We put solar panels in this property. And we actually got 1 studio with a kitchenette in there as well. So this particular property went to planning committee on our HMO license. They did not like us down this road at all. They thought we were going to set up some sort of like sardine people together in like a one house. They really didn't like us. So it actually went to committee. We went to the council, and in the end, we won the license. Yeah, we won the committee from, I think it was 9 votes to 6 we won it on. So it was a bit tough, but we got it. And
16 objections, yeah.
Yeah, 16 objections to this HMO. And the funny thing is we're in the process of buying another one on this road. So let's see how that goes down.
Maybe stick with 6.
In terms of the numbers on that, so we bought that for 265. The works cost 200. There's other costs in there like stamp duty, legals, planning. That's 47K. So the total all in was 512. We got investor funded of 315, and the post-works valuation at 770, which meant that we were to pay off our investors back plus another 65K. And then this property gives us a net cash flow that's like profit of 21K a year. So it's really good, that deal, and seeing the information on Property Filter enabled us to secure it with confidence.
And then this was another one that we found. This is the direct to vendor one. So what happened with this particular property? We saw it on Property Filter, made an appointment with the agent. Halfway down to go see the property, the agent cancelled with us and said, sorry, the owners aren't in anymore. To which point I got really cross and decided that we should drive by anyway, to find that there were people in the house. So I went up and knocked on the door and told them that I'm a local investor and I'm looking to buy. Would they be interested? And we drove off. 5 minutes later, they called us back, said, yes, we're very interested. And we met with them that afternoon. We made a deal that evening. We purchased their house. This was a 2-bedroom house. It was an elderly couple. It kept coming back onto the market because the sales kept falling through. It was an amazing location in where we invest. And I wasn't going to let this go. So I was very adamant to Jazz that this deal was going to work. It was a 6-bed ensuite, all HMO. This one, we didn't do any extensions or loft extensions. We just did internal changes, but we did move the stairs to make it work.
So just one, you didn't do any extension or loft conversion, and you went from 2 to 6. It must have been massive.
Yeah, it had like an annex extension already done, so
Mhm.
we didn't have to build that, so that was already there.
Yeah, purchase price 273. Costs we saved because of no structural works was 118. Other costs was 41. So total all-in cost 432. Cash needed from investor 232, and then the post-works valuation was 560, which means that we released 218. So it meant that we had 14k left in the deal, and that cash flows net profit of just over 20k a year. So that's quite good.
Yeah, very good.
Did you want to go through the online demo or
Yeah,
anything?
it'd be awesome. Yeah, if you want to show us a little bit what's your routine around it, I think that'd be super valuable. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, could you share yours? Because
Yeah.
my lead generators.
Yeah. I thought so. I can do. Yeah, I can do. So let me find it. I thought, okay, we're gonna have to blur some stuff, I'm sure.
It's just the lead generators. They're all
Yeah.
clear. Like we said, we clear them down. So
Yeah. Give me just a sec.
We're that efficient now. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't want to. There we go. Sorry, just bear with me just a sec. If you want to walk me through how you do. There we go. People are asking, how do you extend those properties? You know, it's don't know if you want to comment on, like, how do you turn a 3-bed house into an HMO? Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we do everything under permitted development. So we try and go extend on the ground floor, and then we also go in the loft because you could do that under PD as well. So a lot of our properties we do extensions to increase the size.
yeah, so we look at the permitted development rights first and see how we can maximize the footprint that way. Then we look at internal configurations once we've done those and see what we can do.
okay.
Cool. So yeah, if you want to choose any area is fine. Just go ahead and
Yeah, anything? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to look specifically for HMOs or?
Somewhere that's got Victorian properties.
Yeah, usually all over the UK, right? Right. So, do you want to go? I don't know. You want to go Manchester or something?
Yeah, Manchester. Although it's Article 4, but we don't operate in the Article 4 area, so we'll just have a look.
Okay, so we can go. I can go a bit. Let me draw an area on the map. So let's go. I don't have my mouse. I feel lost. So we got an Article 4 area over here, and let's say we draw. Let's say we go around something like that.
Yeah.
Then in there, would you say you look for those permitted properties outside an Article 4 area, 3-bed plus?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. And any other criteria on price or anything like that, or just keep it like this?
Kind of keep it
quite broad.
There we go. Okay, so that's looking for 3-bed plus properties, 90 square meter and above, in areas that sit outside an Article 4 area. In this area we selected, which is quite broad. Do you sometimes restrict the maximum price, or?
No, not really. I think it's better to just see. It's better to discard something that it's so easy. We'll just hide.
Yeah.
I can see it instantly, like stuff that we wouldn't automatically choose in our own area. So the 3-bed semis that you see initially on the 270, I'd hide that. Sort of that one for 450, but second row. We'll move that to our pipeline.
Okay, just on the basis of looking like the property style is.
Yeah, if it's in a road that we sort of know, we'll just move it straight to our pipeline. If it's not, we'll just say, okay, let's look at the floor plan.
Okay. What would you do with these?
So the 625 I would probably discard.
Are they all with the same agents?
Yeah, all of these are with the same agents, yeah, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I would probably look at the 425.
So just taking a step back, so we've got everything that's available, and different categories. You sort of spend.
Yeah, always start on there and then work across. And I just focus on the green elements. I don't look at like sold.
And we don't tend to look at new either because they're not motivated enough yet. So we always look at what's been around for a while.
So yeah, basically you wouldn't really invest your time and resources into anything if the sales not fallen through before and there's some clues that they're motivated, right?
Yeah, and I definitely look at what's come back on the market and reduce. So where you've got available and you've got like 1,000, like you've got 13, I wouldn't bother straight with that. I would go for what's come back on and what's been reduced. So I think sometimes it can be overwhelming to be like, oh, I've got like 1,500 properties to look at, but actually, technically, you're probably only interested in about 15 of them.
Is there a maximum price where maybe like none of these would work because of the price, and maybe like you put a maximum 300 or something to reduce this list a bit, or?
Yeah, we can do. We normally don't go above like 400,000 in our area.
In your area, yeah. So I can go in here and say, okay, maximum 300.
Yep.
And save the lead generator and update the search. So we must move from 130. So 130, I suspect we'll have half of it. Yeah, 60. So that's more manageable as well. So that's basically how you do anything. So here's one here with multiple agents.
Yep.
We'll dive in a little bit in terms of see the pricing history on that before we move it to the pipeline.
Okay.
So we'll just say, okay, multiple agents. What's the story behind this? So you're trying to figure out, what's happened.
It's interesting. So these guys have had it on and off.
Yep.
And then there's another agent who had it as well, who lost the instruction.
Yeah.
Right here.
Then you try and like decipher. So it seems like they may have done a refurb. It may have looked like, I don't know, that they may have taken it off and then
sometimes they do, yeah.
Yeah.
So with us, if we find a property that's like done up to the max, it's out of the list. We don't bother.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's no developer sort of margin in it. So
yeah. So straight away, like if this was in our area, we wouldn't be looking at it because
so we would hide it over here.
Yeah.
Would you go back to the list to?
Yeah. Always go back to the list because the first thing that we want to see is the picture from the outside and see if it fits that box.
There's another one here.
Yeah. And then we'll look at the floor plan. We say, okay, just count the rooms and see how many rooms we could get on there, rough, and then see if it's worth progressing to the pipeline.
And the map really helps as well because when we're doing HMOs, we want it to be like close to the station. We want to make sure that it's close to local amenities. So by looking at the map, you can tell whether or not it's close to a train station or not. And then also in the box at the bottom, you've got here 1.1 miles from the city centre. So again, just by looking at those, if it's anywhere above like 1.3, I think it is, or 1.4, we tick it off the list.
Yeah.
We're not interested. And we're quite cutthroat. So we don't look at anything that is like, if it's that little bit further out, it just goes, we just hide it. We don't bother.
Yeah. There's enough good deals, right? To, before you want to spend too much time trying to make something hard to work, right? So I agree. Yeah. So here's one where listed at 280 in 2022. In August, they sort of lost the instruction. It seems like some other guys were instructed at 230. The sales fell through. These agents that inherited it back. But what's interesting is it was listed at 230 with this other agent. So somehow 230 was acceptable some time ago. Seems they had a sell agreed and fallen through. And then this is back with these guys over here. So that's there's a story behind this.
You can always ring the other agents as well, that with, and they might tell you a bit more of a backstory as well. Before you ring the current agent, they might have some, because they've lost the project, right? So they've lost the property.
So is that something you do? You go and speak with, like, could you take us through like a role play, a bit of a conversation with the agent who lost the deal, and who lost the sale, let's say, and it's not instructed with a new agent? What would you typically ask them, to sort of get a bit more information?
Yeah, I just generally play a bit dumb and be like, oh, I found this property and I think it was on with you, and then I'll just kind of talk about it and then talk about drop in the road name. And I do play a bit dumb and just kind of see how much information they can give me. And they'll be like, oh, we don't have that anymore. And I'm like, oh, damn, I really wanted that one. Then I'll actually just ask them, I was like, what was the backstory then? How come it's not on the market anymore? Yeah. And they'll just tell you. It's quite interesting when you're a bit ballsy with asking the questions. They actually will tell you. No one will actually say, oh, I don't really want to talk about it. The most they will say is like, oh, I wasn't here when it was on, but then you can't get any further. But sometimes they will tell you why it's not on.
I love you say you play a bit dumb, because I do the same. I put on my worst French accent. Hello, I have seen this property on the market. And then, when you're an idiot, they are trying to help you, so it works quite well. It always serves me well, this spectrum of stupidity you can get on with.
Yeah, no, I think just asking about it, and if the sale, sometimes if we've had a sale with an agent and we've gone to go see it with them, but the vendor's being really difficult, the agent, if you're friendly with the agent, they'll actually tell you, like, this vendor's being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you everything about them, and then you'll get so much more information about the vendor's situation to how you can play that property to your advantage. So I think it is just having those conversations with the agents and building up that relationship.
Yeah, it sounds really good. So let's say we sort of like this 119 square meter. The floor plan seems to fit, what you would do, a 6 or 7 bed.
Yep. This is a typical layout. This is like a typical Victorian style layout that we normally go for. And we would do an extension probably at the bottom there by the kitchen. We would do a loft extension. Sometimes basements are habitable as well, so we look at that as well. But this one we would easily be able to convert to 6 or 7, and that would go straight into our pipeline. And if I'm that excited about it, the call will go down at the time as well. So I'd ring the agent at the same time.
Okay. So now, as we've clicked on add to pipeline, it's now in the pipeline, and this is the stage where you do a bit more.
Yeah.
You do a bit more. You look at it a bit more, and then as you've spoken to the agents, you would have organized the viewing. And do you sort of use all of these steps here, where
we'll put it in there, so that go, and as soon as it goes into here, you might have to add a function now to add it to Google Calendar.
Yeah, we have. Look, Nisha, look. So when you have a date here, you can link your calendar over here, preferences, and you can link to your Google Outlook or the others, and then all your viewings or your follow-ups.
Calendar.
I'm going to show you my calendar, but
because there's 2 of us, I think we just link it to one
calendar.
Yeah. So you can have a shared calendar, like a viewing calendar, and then both of you can subscribe to it, and it works for whatever system people use. And then I think when the event is created, you have it does. So if I go back to this property, right? So which one was it we were looking at? Was it this one? So on the event on the calendar, it does 2 things. One is put the Google Maps link to the property address, and the other link is this shareable link, which is you can scroll on your phone basically. So on your calendar, you've got all the property information, the multiple agents and things. There's not your own notes aren't on this link yet, but it's something we're working on, and your calculation and things like that. But at least you've got everything there. So you want to link it to your calendar, guys.
And then once we've made the offer, we'll put the offer in, and then it's lovely to see all our properties that we've made offers on. So it's we use the whole process, because again, it's like our little CRM system of property.
That's awesome.
And the thing is also, when you look at so many properties, you forget where you're at with some of them. So you want to know, like, did I ring the agent? Who did I speak to? Or did I make an offer or didn't make an offer? So
the action
action actually helped. Like when you log in Monday morning, you're like, right, what do I need to make an offer on? Well, they're all sitting in the what was that one? The organizer viewing bit.
And then you move them forward and move them forward and move them forward. And typically you'll have things like spoke with Sally.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
And then also, if because there's 2 of us as well, then the notes bit's really important, because it'd be like, oh, you spoke to my husband, Jazz. Okay, and you can pick it up off each other. So it doesn't stop us from working. So we don't have to be together to be able to make this.
So collaboratively, you would add the different notes as you convert this good lead into a great deal along taking the different actions on the pipeline. Basically, you would document all of this in this shared action and comment place, and you know exactly where you are and where it is. And the cool thing, I suppose, is say this property sells to someone else tomorrow, and then when it comes back on the market in 3 months' time, you've got all your conversation there. Yeah, I'm sure you've got some.
Absolutely.
So the only thing that we tend to do is we tend to do like our due diligence is probably we kind of do a quick and dirty in terms of what we can see. And then when we organize the viewing and we're there and everything ticks the box or we need to make some adjustments, we'll sometimes go away from that viewing and at the end of it, and we'll offer what we think it is at that time. So we would have already understood how much we're willing to pay for that property. And on that viewing, we'll just say, yeah, we're willing to offer this.
Do you use the deal calculator in here for stacking a deal?
Yeah, we do the initial one, but
Yeah.
then we do a separate one where we go into like full details.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a really good point. So, you know, we've set these up to be really simple, very simple, rough and quick, you know, like, and that's exactly what you're doing. So initially you want to know like roughly, is it going to work? And then this is when you are at the point of making an offer. This is where you probably want to look into more details, you know, like if roughly you know what it's going to be worth, you want to be a bit more certain about what it's going to be worth once you are more committed to it. But yeah, it's very much the spirit and the idea, exactly as you do, you know, exactly as you do, to stack it quick, offer, you know, like get to viewing quick, offer quick.
Yeah.
That's really awesome, guys. You know? Well done.
Just answering some of the questions. I think we've answered. Had you mentioned that you do not in Article 4? Do you manage to get commercial? Yeah, everything comes out on a commercial valuation on our HMOs.
Yeah.
3-bed terrace, be a good fit. We can do extension on the side, but a lot of our extensions are done to the rear and loft. So that's kind of, and our strategy is the same. So we don't tend to move far away from that. So everything is.
So
you find with 7 beds, when you need to go to planning, the parking becomes important.
Yeah, it does, but generally, we've never had an issue with it. We've not really had problems. We've got quite a good relationship with our council and the area that we work in, so we tend to know already when we're going to view the property if we're going to have any problems with parking.
Lovely. Someone's asking, how big are your rooms and the ensuites?
Anywhere from 10 to 16 square meter and an ensuite.
Yeah, sometimes, like, you know, those properties that don't fit the criteria, sometimes we saw one that had kept on coming back and forth and kept, you know, like you realize that it's sticking. And this property we've secured and is currently going through renovation at the moment. It was on the market for 325 and we secured it at 250. So it's a big discount, but it kept on coming back on. And after we got the history, it had been empty for like 13 years. So it was a real pain for whoever was selling it. It was a probate property and that one wasn't our norm, but because we got it at such a good price, we decided to just go with it. Because we were saving on, you know, what we would buy normally. It's the same price, but we were able to get 7-8 rooms out of it. And that's an amazing deal. That was it's still going through as in renovation.
Awesome.
It's going to be cracking. And a house 2 doors away has just been sold for 425 and we got it for 250. So it's crazy.
Yeah, lovely. Darren is sharing that he's on a bit of a similar journey to you. Just summarize it a bit, systemizing different bits and focusing on different things and you know, had a similar deal accepted just recently. And yeah, cheering for you, saying well done. Thanks for the comment, Darren. And Cesar is asking about typical benchmarks of property sizes for different conversions.
So normally we make sure that all our rooms are 10 square meters.
What we would say is like look at the HMO policy at the local council, because every policy is different, and if you use that as like your Bible and your guide, then, you know, as long as you're ticking those off, you should get a license.
We don't gut any of the properties to adjust ceiling heights. They're normally like Victorian houses, so their ceiling heights are quite big anyway. And we did raise finance for all our projects. Some of our money is in the deal. A lot of it is investor funded. A lot of it is JV investors as well. So we've got 5 projects on the go. I think 2 of them are ours, and some of them are on loan investors, and a couple of them are with JV partners. So we've built quite a big relationship up to be able to fund these deals quite quickly.
Jill is asking, when properties are listed with multiple agents, do you pay 1 agent, 2 agents, no one?
Depending on the one you've got the best relationship with, or the one who's giving you the
most information.
Yeah. They need to deserve their fee, you know, like if you're gonna buy it with.
Yeah.
But that's been awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, can we just there was a couple of things we'll share our contact.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'll just share 1 second.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. Really appreciate, you know, you taking us through your process, your secrets.
Yeah, we were recently featured in the YPN magazine in June to kind of just showcase like what we've been doing. Our main goal was to like be with our family, and the idea was to go on holiday every 6 weeks, so like every half term, every summer holiday. And that's why we decided to work with Property Filter as well to kind of make sure that these deals were going through and that we could manage these deals and that we could manage as many deals as we possibly can. So that was our dream. That's what our plan is. So in the last, I think 2 to 3 years, we've been Mexico, Orlando, and we've done Italy, went to Sorrento. We're going to be doing a big cruise trip to Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia later this year, all because we've been able to push so many deals through at the same time, because before, again, one at a time wasn't working enough for us. So being able to actually do that many deals all together has actually allowed us to be able to do this within 3 years. We are also hosting a quarterly networking event in Reading. So if anybody is free or would like any more details, we are collaborating with Property Strategy. It's on Wednesday, the 18th of September, it's from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. So hopefully school run friendly as well. It's at the Three Guineas pub. It's really relaxed, really chilled networking. It's right next to Reading bus station. Our event topic will be social media and raising finance. So if anyone's interested, there's the link there if they wanted to join us.
Key focus about this is core networking. Like it's about helping people reach that next level, whatever that next level is in property. It's about like collaborating and sort of helping you through that and answering any questions. So yeah, feel free to look us up.
Yeah, thanks so much. Do you have the link? You can copy paste it in the chat, and like these people can click on it easily. And
Oh, hang on a sec, yeah.
Yep, I'll do it. Oops.
like this. Yeah, I'll have to invite you to the host summit in December.
Yeah, definitely. Look forward to it. Just paste that link in now.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And then if you had some contact details, I seen, sorry, on the other slide. It's one of the, sorry, I've cut your flow right there.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
You know, I say like property people like, really like their networking, but you have to be mindful with your own time. And I would say this is probably one of the high value rendezvous of the southeast / West London area. So one not to miss. So if you are in the area or indeed fancy a bit of driving, I would really recommend. I've heard really, really good things from the previous edition. So yeah, and they're generally good and nice people to be around. So you're the average of the people you surround yourself with, and what best than spending a morning with these two lovely people.
No worries. Apart from that, like hit us up, send us any questions or any assistance you need. Yeah, and that's it from us.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really appreciate you taking the time. I know you've been really hard to get, always on holiday somewhere, so busy with projects.
So that'll be fun. Hopefully some sun in Croatia, but we'll see.
Well, thanks so much. Do you have sort of a closing sentiment for the other Property Filter members, or any like big advice? The one thing you maybe would have focused on. An advice you would give yourself sort of 3 years ago or 2 years ago.
I think it's trust the process and trust the systems, and I think that really helps to get laser focused. I think when we were looking for deals before, we were looking at everything and we were wasting our time with everything. But when you focus and you really get down on your deal criteria, and that's when we started to notice the big difference, because we were saying no to stuff, whereas before we were trying to say yes to everything, and that just made it really muffled.
Yeah, getting clear on sort of your cookie cutter approach, what you're actually looking for. Once you've got that focus, then you just open up Property Filter and just filter out everything else.
Well, thank you so much, guys. So again on behalf of the community, I think I would say I really thank you for coming, taking your time to come and share your experience here. And it's really a pleasure, to have some of our Property Filter superstars, taking time out of their busy diary and holidays to come and share their wisdom with us. So thanks so much. Thank you everyone for joining us on today's Deal Finder Corner. Visit propertyfilter.co.uk, log on to your Property Filter account, have an endless supply of deals, join the top 1%, like Nisha and Jazz, and become a high achiever deal finder. Do more deals in less time. I hope you enjoyed today's Deal Finder Corner, and I look forward to seeing you next week, where we'll have another Property Filter member sharing his secret next week. So all about direct to vendor and letters. So that's going to be quite interesting. Guys, thank you so much. Good luck with the event next week. Always lovely to speak with you, and speak soon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.